Governor, in the 30 or so years that I've lived in Rhode Island, sadly, it's always been a last to lead, first to bleed style economy. Meanwhile, while we all understand the exigent need for bailout money to a degree, given the current situation, a lot of the problems in Rhode Island's small business sector, in terms of their frailty, existed long before COVID. And this just exacerbated the situation. Talking about high taxes, high fees, and expensive cost of doing business. Now, we find ourselves where we are going to, at some point, you just alluded to it, reach a finite point where in terms of debt and certainly tax collection and a tax base are going to be able to, really unable to finance this continued wave of check writing. At what point in time does the state of Rhode Island wake up, and we spoke a few weeks ago about shared sacrifice, understand that there needs to be budget cuts, there needs to be a drastic shrinkage of government itself, and in light of the Senate President's op-ed to the Providence Journal this weekend, where he painted a rather rosy, almost Pollyannish picture of what they were going to do in this legislative session, there seems to be no fear or no imminent action to shrink government so that businesses have an opportunity to rebound in the state. What do we do here?
So a few things. Make no mistake about it, there's going to be cuts. I promise you, after we get done balancing this budget and next year's budget, you will not be sitting there saying, when are we going to cut? Because unless Congress provides a substantial additional stimulus, which I actually hope they do, the cuts are going to be very brutal. Secondly, I guess I don't agree with your view of why our economy has struggled. So, you know, like since I've been governor, we've cut taxes every year. We have the lowest corporate tax rate in New England, and our property taxes are high, for sure, but business taxes and income taxes are in line with the region. The problem in Rhode Island's economy is that we held on to old line manufacturing for too long, and we didn't reposition Rhode Island's economy for like jobs of the future. And the way to do that is investments in research and development, investments in job training, investments in, you know, getting companies that want to be here, that are in growth industries, who want to hire Rhode Islanders because of the talent that they need. And so if you ask me what's it going to take, what I think it's going to take is continued focus on high growth industries and training and educating Rhode Islanders to be poised and positioned to get those jobs. If you look across America right now, I mean, now is everything's pretty bad, but pre-COVID, the hottest economies in America were not the places that had the lowest taxes. They were not. They're the places that have the highest concentration of talented workforce in industries that are growing. So that's where we need to continue to go and replace the old line manufacturing that we had. That's why we're investing $50 million in back to work. That's why we made community college tuition free. That's why we're, you know, investing in innovation. But I agree with you. We have to have reasonable taxes and reasonable regulation. But I strongly disagree with the economic theory that if you cut taxes to the bone, you'll have growth, because frankly, it hasn't worked anywhere.
But relative to the small business community, however, it's not a question of where we stand, or even say in tech, where you've done a lot of work. It's not a question of where we stand relative to New England. It's where we stand relative to the entire country. And
Sure.
Our entire cost structure, not just taxes, but our entire cost structure, whether it be utilities, taxes, rent, everything is completely out of whack. And a lot of that is driven by the high cost of government. Government has become the single biggest force in our local economy.
But that's true in almost every state. Government is the biggest employer in most states. And again, since I've been governor, we've cut every single year. Rhode Island has the fewest number of FTEs in state government per capita of any state in the country. So, like, I hear you. I cut every year. I've been trying to cut taxes. I used to run a small business. It's tough. So I've been trying to cut taxes at every place that we can. And there will be cuts to government, but we also have to provide affordable health care, high-quality child care, high-quality education, high-quality public schools, and then demand quality so that folks can get trained so they can get decent jobs. My point was the growth engine has to be cranked up, and that engine is in these innovation-based businesses.
Just one follow-up question on the vaccination program. You've spoken about this board here in Rhode Island, which will do a review. In terms of the accelerated release in the program with Pfizer, how will that board interact with that potential smaller December rollout?
With great thanks to the expert panel that we have, we will be using all available data to really assess for Rhode Island the best way to proceed. Many of the members of our teams are on calls with our national and federal partners on a daily basis almost. And so any and all access to the data is what's going to be provided to our board so that we can use that to inform the most aggressive way to go forward.